Raghavendra Rabindranath Kaushik. He is a chartered management accountant. He is, a resource person for many economic lectures. And Mr. N. Rabindranath Kaushik is an excellent cost and management accountant, a great teacher, a leader, an orator, and also to his credit, he has got an award of Sadhan for Lifetime Achievement Award and has participated in several debates and deliberations on various economic issues. In fact, he has served as the chairman of the Bangalore chapter of Cost Accountants, and he is a member of FICCI, the National Skill Development Board, and so on. Highly educated, well-informed Mr. Kaushik, N. Rabindranath Kaushik. We are all very fortunate that he is going to address all of us today, and on behalf of ENFP College, on behalf of all the staff and students and management of ENFP College, I extend him a very warm welcome, and I request you all to be interactive with him. He will be able to guide you, and he will be able to answer your queries also at the end of the session. And I'm happy that thousands of people have shown interest, and they are keen in taking part in this faculty development program. We will come out with few programs of this kind in the future also. Please support and have better learning. Let us support our students and the future generation. Thank you all.
Okay, good morning all. We'll wait for another 2 minutes before we start the session because there was a delay in due to some technical issues. I think just now the inaugural address by the principal of the college has happened. So let us wait for 2 minutes because people need to shift from there to here. So we'll wait for another 1 or 2 minutes. Please bear it with us. So these type of things happens because most of us are not still convergent with the technology. So I will start the session in another 2 minutes. Let us wait for all the people to join because there are around 1,000 registrations which has happened. And definitely, at least if we expect 40% of them to join, around 400 people are supposed to join us now in another couple of minutes. So let us wait for them. So it's very good to see that people are joining from different parts of India. So that shows their interest, especially in the burning topic of how the economy is heading towards, or where it is heading towards, and what are the various things which are coming in the line, especially in terms of the aggressive growth what India is looking forward. So we'll have some discussion on that. So hello. Yeah, madam. Yeah. They are joining now. I will start in another 2 minutes. I have told them, let them join. Okay, don't worry about that. I'll handle it. Okay. Oh, okay. So let us have an informal discussion. See, good to see that many people are joining, and it gives me a great pleasure, immense pleasure to interact with people like you, especially from the academic background, where the contribution from your side is much more required in the future growth and development of our country. So, as Sir has given a brief introduction about me, I'm a practicing cost and management. So, I have my own consulting firm. I'm working for this consulting firm for last 9 years. So, I'm basically a person with both industrial knowledge as well as from consulting knowledge. So my area of interest is I do a lot of consulting for MSME sector, so which is a very threshold sector in today's world. So I am giving a lot of advisory services to MSME sectors, especially in terms of project funding or helping them in streamlining their financial activities, or helping them in setting up their own setups and statutory compliance related things. So likewise, so that is my role, and 20% of my time I invest on education. So that is one of the interesting areas where I've my interest too. So I do a lot of consulting in education related activities also, and I'm part of a lot of board, and I work in those boards also. Okay, so like to give some example, so I work for Institute, Government of Karnataka, and National Skill Development Corporation. So I'm assessor, certified assessor for National Skill Development Corporation, and also I work for National Dairy Development Board as a resource person, and also work with institutions like HEA, Higher Education Academy, Ministry of Higher Education, Government of Karnataka. So I love to interact with the fraternity of professional people and also the faculties, because it's a learning for me also. So as we know today, the globe is moving towards volatility and changes which are happening at such a faster rate that whatever we study, right, in let us say last month is not what is required today. So there is always a concept of unlearn, relearn, and learning to be done always. So it's a very good thing actually for both of the people, like that is professionals and as well as the faculties, because we need to interact quite often, because we act as a connectivity between the institution and the industry. So our role is to ensure that we work for the government initiatives, and we stand in between the institution which provides the strong skilled employees to the organization. So we link you people, that is institution and industry. So that is our role as a professionals. That's what we are supposed to do. So in that process, we are even linking the government with institution also. So that is our role in general. I think many of them have joined. Let us start the session then. Okay. Good morning once again for you. And there was a little bit of delay. Okay, let us make use of that time, and let us extend our time for another 15-20 minutes and have a meaningful discussion at the end of the day. So there should be some learning for you and also learning for me at the end of the day. That's what the knowledge is all about. So coming back to this era of COVID-19, so I would rather prefer to call it as Wuhan virus instead of calling it as COVID-19, because whenever there was some plague, they used to call Indian plague. The world used to call it like that: Indian plague, Spanish flu, or Nigerian flu. See, they used to call by the country's name. And let us also defame China now. We'll call it as Wuhan virus itself instead of calling it as COVID-19 and all. So let us defame China also, because it's a place where this virus originated. And let us not also look into details of the theories which are arising in this particular virus concept. It's because many people are saying that it is something which has been grown in a lab in the university headquarters in Wuhan. And this is a man-made virus. That's what they are telling. And some people are talking about 5G theory also for this eruption of this Wuhan virus. So let us not deal with all those things. Definitely in the coming years, there will be definitely a lot of discussion which will be happening. And already you can see almost more than 100 countries have already signed the petition for asking to do a complete review of why this happened and what is the reason for the outbreak and all, especially targeting China. So let us not discuss in detail about those things as of now, because it's too immature for us to discuss. Because first of all, we need to come out of the situation what we are facing today. So it's time for us to, especially country like India, right? It's a high time for us to make use of the benefits of this COVID-19 or Wuhan virus impact. So we need to get ourselves equipped with the changes. We need to get ourselves equipped with all the what you call opportunity gaining mechanism, so that we can take the right opportunity and start progressing into the next general level of activities what the globe is expecting us. So today India has become a strategic location. So all over the world, people are talking about India. So that is something which is happening across the globe. So you just switch on to any international news channel, or just have a just check on the what are the daily newses which are coming up in the international newspaper. Now suddenly India has got a recognition, and people are discussing about the Indian economy and what are the measures which the Indian economy is taking, and how Indian economy is preparing itself or gearing up towards taking up the challenges of moving towards the next level of growth. So this has been debated in almost all the international arenas, especially in US and UK markets. So the first and foremost thing what I want to highlight upon is there is definitely a change in the world order. So if you see the era of 19th century, the 19th century was most dominated by Europeans. Okay, we saw the colonial rules. So how the European Union brought a lot of changes, especially in the factories, contribution in the revolution of industries, and the trade, and also the colonial rule and its impact on global system, and all those things we might have seen. So all the rich countries were looted, and that money was used for the development of most of the European countries. So that was end of 19th century. So then came the 20th century, where the US economy started becoming more powerful. So by the end of 1989, we saw something like the triplicate arrangement between United States, Canada, and one side, European Union on the other side, that is Europe and the Western countries, what we call it as. So that is on the other side. And in Asian country, it was only the Japan, which was there up to 1989. So these three countries, these three unions, what we call it as, that is US and Canada on one side, and Europe and Western part on the other side, and Japan, which was an Asian country, on the third side. So there was a three-way integration between the trade and all the economic policies which floated around these three countries, these three regions, we can call it as, instead of countries. So when we talk about these three regions, the ultimate focus on these three regions were positive relationship was there. That is, whatever the trade used to take place, or whatever the business used to take place between these three countries, were well agreed upon contracts. So they had a clear intention of what is the business they need to run, how they need to run the business, and all those things. That means there was an integration among all these three countries, and this is where things moved slowly and things moved rapidly also. So when things moved rapidly, this resulted in formation of a lot of associations. So a lot of WTO also came during that time, and a lot of organizations like NATO, AFTA, and G20 nations. See, like this, a lot of economic cooperation and development started floating into the system during those period. But what happened at the end of this 20th century and the beginning of the 20th century is very important. So we saw something change in the global order. So slowly Japan started moving out of the system, and today we are seeing where the Japanese economy is ending with. So I think some of you who are daily reading the newspaper, they might have seen day before yesterday there was a news which carried Japan has moved into recession. So there the government debts, okay, as a percentage of GDP has crossed more than 200%. So this is something which is very serious issue in Japan. So Japan has now moved into a bad recession. So Japanese economy is now going for collapsing. So what could be wrong with Japan? So what is that which Japan could not look at when they started developing towards the economic growth? So there is something which has happened. And after that, if you see what is happening in European Union today. So in the coming years, that is the new economy, the new world order, what we are thinking of is it is between India on the one side, United States on the other side, and China on the third side. See, these are the three important major countries. So, which will be focused area in the coming months. So, this is something which is very, very, very crucial because unlike our old world order, where there was a mutual between the countries which are forming the world order, today we don't have such type of relationship which exists, especially of the before COVID also we had this issue. There was always a trade war between US and China, and that we know that. So and since these three are the global economy which will be ruling the post-COVID situation, right? And India being the strategic point for both US as well as India, China. So China and India and US, these are the three world new orders which will be coming up in the post-COVID era. So if you see the relationship between India and US, it's more positive now. So that you could see in the last week reports which came up when there was a need for supplying of ventilators. US came up and started distributing free ventilators. They shipped free ventilators, 200 ventilators to India, free of cost. And each ventilator cost somewhere around 10 lakh rupees. So US immediately took the action of sending those ventilators to India. Not only that, so if you see the 3 days back news, right, even US has sent its Navy driven helicopters, which are used for anti-submarine guarding, right? So those things have been moved to the South Asian Sea bordering India. So what is this? Why this strategic move has taken place? What is the reason behind why US is moving so close to India? And also, if you see the UN Secretary Council 29th April meeting, right? What he said is that India is the hub for all our social and economic development. So we need to put India in such a place that it becomes a global supply chain. Okay, so they are strategically looking at India today. So few years back, we used to look to US for everything. So before the Trump administration came into picture, right, what the position of India was, India used to look for everything with US. So you might have seen how many times our Prime Minister visited US. So he went to US and he started engaging the US and started bringing a lot of assignments from US to India. So that was the cultural relationship and also the bondage with what India is supposed to extend it in order to attract US. So we were going into their doorsteps all these days. But see the drastic change which has taken place once this Wuhan virus has impacted the globe. So today, US is coming to India. US actually requested India to supply the drug for treatment. So even India did not was willing to send the drug. So they imposed something called as we'll impose some trade barriers. So and they immediately asked India to send that drugs. They requested basically, and this India started pushing that pharmaceutical drug to the international market, which was later accepted and well appreciated by the global community. So today, India is not that India which we were talking 2 months back, not 2 years, sorry. It's 2 months back. Whatever we were talking is not what the India today is. So we have been positioned in a very, very, very strong position. So only thing is whether we are in a position to take up that challenge. That is the next question what we are supposed to ask. So before we ask this question, so the trade between India and US is positive now. So the reverse of also US between India is also positive now. So we are having a very, very positive relationship between India and US and India. But see the other relationship now. How is India's relationship with China? And how is China's relationship with India? So if you see the latest developments which are taking place in Nepal, what the Prime Minister, Nepal's Prime Minister statement, which has come out just 2 days back. Again, Nepal is a communist country. So, Nepal Prime Minister has actually targeted India by telling Indian virus which has been released is much more dangerous than what China and Italy has done. See, this is a statement which has come from a person who is sitting in Nepal as a prime minister. So something is happening. Southeast Asia, again, there people have been Chinese warfare have been pushed in Southeast Asia, and how Sri Lanka has reacted to that position. That also, I think you people be knowing in the last 2 days what has happened. And of course, what is happening in Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, and what these Chinese troops are doing to Indian. See, these are all something provocative measures have been taken by China, because somewhere China is thinking that they have been let down. So their economy is going for doldrums now. So yesterday, again, today's morning newspaper, if you see, US has told that Chinese rogue companies will not be listed in US stock exchange. So this is something which has come up seriously for China now. So now, slowly, many people have told, Japan has already told that they will remove companies from China. Korea has told they will be moving Chinese companies outside China. And US has told that they will be moving some companies. Germany has told they will be moving some companies out of China. And 100 people have signed the petition against China for whatever the virus which has come out from China. See, these are all the things which we need to see and study about what the relationship China is expecting with the world. So I think somewhere down the line, China is getting isolated from the international community now. So whatever they were thinking and whatever they were doing, because of this one virus, it has spoiled the entire relationship with the globe. So people are less trusting China now. So you know what happened with the RP kit with India returned back to China, right? They are saying that it was not a good quality one. See, earlier to this, we did not have such type of challenges where, or so we did not have such type of guts to say that China, we are rejecting your. So it's not our. See, this was not there, and many companies also did not think of coming out of China. So these are the things which has changed over a period of time, and now we are seeing that things have changed over a period of time. So having said so, that is the major thing which you need to focus on. There is a third changing world order which has come up, wherein India, China, and US. So good relationship between India and US. There is still a question mark relationship between China and India, but there is a negative relationship between US and China. So these three triangle sides, what we are talking about, right? They are the countries which will be very much thought of in the coming months. So this three triangular approach, what we are talking about, so involving China on one side, India and US on the other side. So India is a strategic point because China needs to maintain good relationship with India. US is already having good relationship with India. China and US doesn't enjoy very good relationship. You are seeing the trade wars and the daily things, what the statement is coming from US on China and what China is making statement on US. So that tug of war has started already between those two countries. But China and India, still the question mark lies. We don't know where exactly this type of relationship still exists. So in order to balance these three triangles, in order to balance these three triangles will be the challenging part in the third world order. So this is the biggest challenge which everyone needs to face. So what the second level of development which is taken place in the Indian economy and global economy is we need to go for integration now. So this is a term which India used to advocate from quite long time, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So this has become the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is the topic which is advocated by India for quite long time. This is the only solution for today's problem. So we need to go towards more integrated world economy. So integration of the global economy is one of the key factors which will be working out in the coming years. So all your old associations like G20, G9 or United Nations, all this will go for transformation changes now. So there will be a new redefinement of tripartite negotiations which needs to start up. So there is no bilateral thing which will be more important now. It is trilateral relationship which becomes more important. So we need to consider all the global competitors under one common umbrella to progress and to save this economy of each countries. So that is the new challenge which has come up in the coming years, and India will be taking the lead role in executing this particular things to happen in the coming years. So how to do it? So that is something which I always tell wherever I go. There is something called as Hanuman effect in psychology. So they always keep on telling this Hanuman effect in psychology. What is this Hanuman effect? See, when the couple of times, especially right when we talk about Hanuman stories, so there was one particular instance when Indrajit comes and leaves that Sarpastra on Lakshmana, and Lakshmana falls down because of that Sarpastra, and all the warriors, that is Sugriva and Rama and even Vibhishana, all these people will be sitting next to Lakshmana, and they will be looking for how to wake him up out of that Sarpastra effect. So most of the people say that it's highly difficult. Then a Rishi comes and advocates that this problem can be solved only if someone can bring Sanjeevani Parvata. It is Sanjeevani medicine, not even Parvata. Sanjeevani medicines which are found in Himalayas. So at that point of time, many people think that who can go to Himalaya, because time is running out. They are in the war field, and there is no much time to go from here to there. And next day, Indrajit again comes back, and again he will be fighting the war. So everyone is worried. Then few people who are with Hanuman, they say that Hanuman is a capable person who can do it. See, Hanuman says, rejects this offer for first and second time. He says, no, I can't do. I don't have that capacity. I'll not be able to do it, and all those things. But after series of confrontation, Hanuman realizes that yes, he can do it. So this is what today India's position is also. So entire globe is looking towards India now. So somewhere down the lane, we Indians are not comfortable enough to rise to that level now. So somewhere we are saying that, can we do it, or will we be able to do it? So somewhere down the line, that psychological feeling has impacted Indians. So we have that stereotype which is there in our mind that we cannot do it. We have done it already, right? So we know that majority of the people who are developing chips globally are from India. So those people who are working in NASA developing spacecrafts are all Indians. So name any technology firm in the US or in India which is multinational companies. The majority of the board of members and CEOs and CFOs all are Indians. So when we are able to do it for other countries, why can't we do it for our own country? So today we praise that we have so much Nobel Prize and we have so much contribution in science and technology by Indians, all those things. But today it's surprising to hear that we don't have one technology brand which originated from India, which is ruling the globe today. So name any one brand which is technology-driven brand which is ruling the globe today. But name any brand, you have majority of the Indians who have worked for that brand. So where is the difference? There is something which is happening in the system. When our people can go out and they can give solutions, they can innovate, they can discover new things. Why not they can do it in India? Why don't we, as a Hanuman, we can start inventing new things in our growth and development? Why don't we focus on that? So that is something which India need to do it now, because we can do it. We have such a resource which we can push for doing it. So this is one thing which India needs to work seriously from today onwards. That is, if I want to take the advantage of the post-COVID impact, right, it's time for us to now work towards achieving this. So how do we do it? So what is that which helps us to do it? So we have everything. We have technology. We have skill sets with us. We have intention. But only thing is we are looking for opportunity. But today the virus has created opportunity for us. So how do we encash this opportunity is something which we need to work it out. So the integration of global economy is the point which I wanted to highlight. And if you have seen the recent news again, you might have seen that Indian executive director of WHO has been appointed already. So this is something that means all these years we were not getting recognized. So today, World Health Organization, such a big organization, is trying to pull an Indian. So they know that if Indian can be used in the national arena, right, or international framework, right, then US can be tamed. So that is the concept, because we have a very good relationship with US now. So they want to pull India into the highest bodies of the international organizations, so that US also can be, because you know what happened. US told that it will withdraw its contribution to WHO, and remember 43% of WHO's contribution is coming from US alone. So think about, if tomorrow US withdraws 43% of its shares in WHO, what will happen to WHO? How it will survive as an international organization? How it will run its activities? So this is something which the global economy has thought of. That's why they are pulling India and they are giving the top position to Indians there, so that even US can be slowly convinced, and they can also be put into the again the original form which they were doing it from earlier stage onwards. That is one thing, and definitely there is a positive move this time, because China has been totally negated or will be ignored in the United Security Council also. Even though China has the veto power, but still this time they used to block us always whenever there was a question of United Nations permanent seat to be granted to India. So now at least we are moving towards a situation where definitely this time 21-22, where the elections are supposed to happen, India will be pushed towards getting the permanent seat in United Nations. So once this happens, right, the dynamics or the entire the outlook of how the economy will look for India will drastically change in the coming years. So we are hoping for that, because we have made 7 unsuccessful attempts of getting nominated to UN Security Council, but some or the other way, some countries used to block us. But now there is a lot of support from European countries as well as US. So we have more strength today to be part of United Nations Security Council as a permanent member. Hope that will happen in the coming months. So we are waiting for that. So if that happens, India will be moving into a proliferation, nuclear proliferation and all those things. And India will become a brand veto power to decide upon a lot of influential matters in the global system. So I think this is one of the biggest thing which is coming on our way because of the strategic relationship which India has maintained with various countries for a period of time. In this point, I would just like to mention something where there was a time when people of our own country started criticizing our Prime Minister of calling him as an NRI Prime Minister, non-resident Indian Prime Minister, because he used to do a lot of foreign travels. See, he did foreign travel in order to bring this relationship. Today, whatever the positions we are holding in the global context and how people are respecting in SAARC nation today, or how our Southeast Asian nations relationship is existing. These are all because of the huge amount of investment of time what the Prime Minister had done 3 to 4 years back. So you would have seen that in 2016 Republic Day Parade, the 9 countries from Southeast Asian participated in the Republic Day Parade, which has not happened in Indian history for last 70 years. So this was something big achievement, because we tried to bring all the Southeast Asian nations to come together, because that is the time when China was using these countries for their air bases. So they wanted to use their water resources for air base, and they wanted to build a strategic harbor and seaports there. So by bringing these people into India, so the Prime Minister was able to gain their confidence to Indian side, and that was a strategic move which has resulted in strong relationship, not only with cultural but also the traditional and also our commercial relationship. So this is the strategic move. So many people criticized. We saw a lot of news coming in newspaper and all TV station and all. They told that he is an NRI Prime Minister. Some oppositions are criticizing Prime Minister's role and all. See, this is what the results today we are enjoying. Today, we have been placed strategically as the 5th largest world economy. So what is the reason for moving towards this? Because of the relationship what we have maintained. That has started resulting in lot of benefits to us today. So that is one thing. And the next point, what I wanted to highlight was the GDP growth rate, what the world is predicting. So if you see the GDP projection made by the IMF, International Monetary Fund, other than India and China, all the rest of the countries post-COVID will be posing negative growth rate. That's what has come from IMF. So International Monetary Fund has told that India's GDP and China's GDP only will grow at positive rates. The rest of the other countries' GDP will grow at negative rates. See, this is one of the very important points what we need to understand, because there is a drastic change where economy is more shifting towards Asia-centric economy now. So the world economy is now focusing more on Asian-centric economies. So Asian-centric means China, India, and Indonesia, Singapore, Philippines, all these countries. So now there is a better scope for us, better avenues for us, better opportunity for us in order to diversify ourselves into becoming a global leaders. So China, anyhow, it is losing its hope. So initially, when the prediction was done, Chinese economy was they thought that Chinese flu, whatever the virus which has come from China, right? So the international community was thinking that this is a really virus which has come from some animal or something like that. So after later on, when the theory started propounding, and when there were some mysterious things which happened, like the doctor who was surprisingly in circumstances where he died of coronavirus, the doctor who actually told that this is a virus which is spreading and this is something unique virus which has come out, and he was not made public. The statements were not made public, and the suspicious way that person died. So that is one thing which has resulted in this one. And also the second important thing, what the impact was on Chinese was that the many strong companies which were earlier based in China are moving out of China now. So so somewhere down the line, Chinese economy is collapsing now. So you might have seen that 2 major banks in China has gone for bankruptcy. So most of the companies are now going and shifting back. So most of the trade deals have been cancelled, and most of the people who are earlier customers of China are now filing anti-China protests. See, these are the things which Chinese economy and is not able to digest in the coming years. So this will create a lot of opportunities for other Asian-centric economy like India. India is a major destination place hub which we are thinking of, and of course the Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Maldives, and Indonesia, Philippines, and these are the countries where a lot of things are moving. So already some 27 companies of US has moved into these areas. They have signed the contract to move from China to those countries. So again, India is facing strict challenges from these countries also. So that is one thing which you need to be aware of. So today the focus is more on Asia-centric countries, especially India and China was the country which the IMF thought of that they will be registering more than 7% growth in 2021-22. And even the Asian Development Bank and all the major rating agencies have told that the post-COVID, this economy will have positive growth rates. So this is something where the international community is trusting the economy for India to progress in the coming years. So then coming back to the very important point on emergence of GCC. So GCC is nothing but Gulf Cooperation Council. So it consists of 7 countries of Gulf. So like Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all those things. See, this is one of the important things which we need to remember, because after this oil price crash which has taken place in the global economy now, so the dominance of this GCC has now gone for relevance to depend on countries like India. So you might have seen the Islamic phobia, whatever the thing which came out from some certain sects of group of people in India, right? That was totally rejected by Saudi Arabia. A country like Saudi Arabia and UAE rejected that. So they supported India. So openly that UAE princess came and told that these are something which is against India. Why India doesn't take action against these people who are promoting such type of messages, wrong messages to the global world. See, that is the beautiful relationship what India has understood with UAE. So the terms of relationship has moved more strategic now towards the GCC countries, which are playing a very dominant role. So now they are also relaxing their own laws and regulations, which were very adamant over the period of time. So you might have seen the lot of reforms which has taken place in UAE, Saudi Arabia, where there was a traditional or a Shariat laws, which were very tough laws, which were practiced. So there has been some relaxation given to that laws now. So because they know the importance and why they need to change now. So the change in GCC attitude and the representation of women in parliament or to be drivers on the cabs and all those things. These are some of the reforms which the GCC has brought in. So that means they are opening up themselves to the global system now. So earlier, these are all traditionally the economies which were closed. That means which never came out and started enjoying the benefits of what the global economy was. So they were operating in the closed doors with their own rules and regulations because oil was much demanded at that point of time. So since most of the projects are now moving towards eco-friendly and we are growing for a green climate environment, so there is less dependency on fossil fuels. So this has resulted in more investment in green investment activities today, like electrical cars, solar power, and all those things. So this has curtailed the demand of these oil industries, and they think that the future is not oil for them. So what is next? Next, they need to depend on such type of businesses which can generate a lot of income for them. So one sector is tourism. Of course, they are moving towards tourism in a good way. But the other system is to become an hub for electronic and electrical items and all those things. So definitely India has a better advantage over this in GCC, and GCC nations are coming close to India today. So this is one of the biggest development which has taken place in the recent year. So we have a good market in this GCC also. So what is the advantages for India? So quickly I'll wrap it because of time constraint. So I need to finish it off. A lot of things are there because we are taken up a very big topic. Economy is one of the important factors where we need to look it from all the angles. So we cannot look it from 1 or 2 points here. I need to deliberate on all the angles and try to bring in where we stand today and what are the challenges we need to face in the coming months. So where we need to go now, what is the route for us to go? So what is the areas for us to progress now? So the first and foremost thing is India has a very good demographic dividend. This is one of the things which has been blessed. So if you see the countries like Australia and majority of the European countries, right, their demographic dividend is the biggest issue. So we see the reverse working of demographic dividend because the number of seniors people, that is aged people, are going up there. So the birth rates have come down, but the old people growth rate has gone up there. So that is one thing which is need to be looked into here, because India has a demographic dividend advantage, and this advantage will continue till 2055. That is next 35 years. We will be having this advantage of having people in the age group of 15 to 64. We call it as working force. Okay, these are the working force. 15 to 64 years is the working force, which will be growing at a very enormous level till 2055. That is 35 years from now onwards. So we will be having this advantage. So it's just like a twin blade. Okay, it has an advantage, also a disadvantage. So if you are not able to generate employment, if you are not able to create livelihood or sustainability for this population, right, then it will act as a boomeranging thing where it again comes back and hits the economy very badly. So we have the advantage, at the same time we have a disadvantage also. So The worrying part is 28% of people in the age group of 15 to 26 years are not doing anything in India. So what is that they are not doing anything? That means they are not even going for colleges or schools. They are not going for job. They are not doing any productive activity. That means they are simply wasting their time without contributing towards any productivity. So that is 28% of India's population, that too in the age group of 15 to 24 years. So this is something which is very, very, very bad. Okay, so we need to address this issue. This is one of the serious issues which are posing a lot of problem to us. So how do we do it is the biggest thing. But we have a demographic dividend which is very high compared to other countries across the globe. So this is one strategic advantages what India enjoys with the 135 crore population what we have, right? This is the strategic advantages what we are having compared to other nation which is lagging behind. That is demographic dividend. The next one is rise of middle class in emerging markets. See, today wherever you go, emerging markets, right? So there are a lot of middle class people who have come up. So middle class people are those people who can encourage consumptions. Savings and consumptions happens at this level itself. So they are the consumers, tomorrow's consumers. So they are the big market for us. So if we can develop products and services to cater to their needs, I think that is the major chunk of our development and growth which India should focus upon. So the huge market for middle class market across the globe is something which can run the economy or revolve the economy or revive the economy also. So their potentiality to consumption, their potentiality to absorb the new inventions which comes in the line of business, right? They are the people who should not be ignored. So if we can cater to the needs and requirements of this particular class, middle class people, I think definitely there will be enormous change which will be coming out in the coming years. So next important point is infrastructure investment. India is very poor in this. If you compare countries like China and other European countries and even Philippines, Singapore and all, what investments in infrastructure is there, it's very, very, very poor in India. So even though we started the concept of smart city concept, connectivity of national highways or building of ports, so Bharat Mala project was started and all these things, but the pace at which it is growing is very, very, very minimum. So that is not the level what we are supposed to expect in order to grab the opportunities which are coming up on India's way. We need to progress. So capex needs to be expanded now. So that's what a lot of economists have suggested, that we should not stick on to the fiscal deficit concept of the global standard, which says that it should be managed within 3.5% and all. See, this is a high time. Let us go for more and more investments on capital nature items like roads, connectivities, ports, development of ports, airports. That's a very key thing. Even though the budget announced for 100 new airports, but what about the existing airport? So there is no infrastructure in the existing airport itself. So except for few city-based airports which are carrying the passengers, the most of the airports in India are not well designed or well having facility of good infrastructure. So it's time to modernize the airport system and had new airports, so that is the way where the development should take place. So capital investment or investment in infrastructure is something which India need to focus more at this point of time. So we are lagging in this compared to Singapore or compared to some countries like Southeast Asian countries like Thailand or China. Example, it's a big company with good infrastructure. You can see whenever you see video of China and all, you see how big buildings have come up, how big roads, how big corridor roads have been started, infrastructure wise airports, and how they have developed. See, that is the biggest thing which India should do. And please remember, this creates a lot of job opportunities. So infrastructure is one sector which creates 70% of the job market to India. So if we can push more and more expenditure on infrastructure, I think we can involve that demographic dividend, what I was talking about, right? We can push those people into this particular scheme. So this is something which needs to be taken up on the priority basis. infrastructure is one thing which we need to develop, be it urban infrastructure or it's a rural infrastructure. So rural infrastructure, definitely we need to revive now because of the migration issues which has happened in the recent COVID. So many people have gone back to villages, and 80% of them will not turn back to cities now. So either they will stay there or they'll move to the nearby districts in search of job. So creating infrastructure will create more jobs to this. Thanks for the government. They have spent around 40,000 crores in the Manrega. They have sanctioned additional amount of 40,000 crores to Manrega project, which mainly works for infrastructure development in rural areas. So such type of new initiatives needs to be launched in order to bring more and more investment in infrastructure. So that is next thing. So next one is about digital talent. Of course, I discussed on this. So many people of our institutes are going abroad. Once they complete their education in India, they go abroad and start working for foreign companies. So their talent, our digital talent, is getting utilized by some other countries. So why don't we have a knowledge hub of our digital talent people in India itself? Why don't we build a big and strong digital environment in India itself? So let us be a digital hub. Let us encourage people to come up with startup industries, start their own technology firms, start doing innovations, okay, start finding solutions for problems which are there, or start helping the challenging areas which are coming up in our development and growth. So this is a thing which can be advocated, where digital talent stay backs in India. We need to capitalize them. We need to utilize them in India itself. We need to see, because this is the right time, because most of us have learned a lot of lessons from this post-COVID. So most of the people are now not willing to go back to foreign countries to do their higher studies or to go for a job or something like that. So this is the right time. We need to source these talented people within our economy itself, give them opportunity, give them platform to develop on their skill sets and all, and try to fund them in order to bring new innovations and use the talent within India itself. So this, I will just like to give an example here. So all these years we were using this Zoom. So Zoom, if you see, in December, it has only 1 crore people who had joined Zoom. But suddenly in March and April, the subscription for Zoom went up to 30 crores. So that means 29 crores extra people were added in Zoom because of this COVID. So why not we think about Indian platform itself? Why not an Indian technology company can think big like this? Why not Indian company can think of Facebook, creating some things like Facebook or WhatsApp? See, then data will be secured. It will be stored within India. It will be in the people hands where it's our own people who can manage all the database. So why don't we think in that direction? Why don't we bring something new concepts like this? Why don't we think innovating these things? And thankful to many of the new innovators, young innovators, who came up with a lot of individual systems which can run now Google Meet and all those things. Vande Bharat is there, which is one of the very important Google app, which you can use it, download it, and you can use it, which is developed purely by Indians. So that app has been developed by Indians, and you can use it on your for doing web conferencing and all those things. It is restricted now up to 50 users, but they are coming up with the higher version of the same. So Vande Bharat and all these things, new concepts have started coming up domestically. So this needs to be encouraged to get into the next level. That is how the digital talent can be made use. And the other one is a very pathetic situation today in India is on investment in research and development. So our investment in research and development is hardly 0.7% of GDP. So this is what we are investing on research and development. So this needs to change actually. If you compare to the countries like Korea or Israel and all, right, they are investing almost around 4 to 5% of their GDP on R&D. So this is something which needs to be really worked out. So research and development is a concept which was not thought of as a main priority area, even though government has come up with a lot of schemes in the last 2-3 years budget. They have started funding research and development activities, but the pace at which it is growing is not the pace which is required to meet the strategic levels of development what is required in the coming months. So I think government needs to work something here, where they need to spend more on research and development. Expenditure on R&D should go up. So more and more expenditure you incur, at least we need to have somewhere around 3% of our GDP. So roughly now in the last budget, it was around some 1.2% of GDP was on research, but that is not still enough, because we are talking about becoming the fourth largest economy in the world by 2022. So the research is one of the important thing which we need to capitalize upon. So government needs to spend. Thanks for this COVID again. So a lot of companies, medical companies in India have started doing a lot of research and inventing new vaccine to this COVID. So a small company in Pune has already worked on this thing. So now the research and has now taken a pace now. So similarly, a lot of institutions have come up with new innovative ideas, like our IITs or IIScs or IIM. They are coming up with new research ideas, especially into finding solutions for various problems. I think this is where we need to progress upon. Our institutions should be involved. Our colleges should be involved. So it should be made as a investment, research and development web. Just like how we have entrepreneurship development cell, right? We need to have R&D cell also. So this will cater to the needs of future requirement of India, and young generation people have more ideas, and that needs to be transported into a new research hub which India can think of in the coming years. So that is one thing. Research and development is one focus area which India should work on. And the other important area where India is still not doing good is on intellectual properties. So IPs, we call it that patent, trademarks, copyright, all those things. So in this, our focus should be more on patents. So in intellectual property, patents is one of the important thing where India is losing a lot of its innovation to foreign countries. So our ideas have been stolen, our ideas have been used, and someone has taken patent for our ideas. So there is a lot of things which has happened in patent environment because of lack of awareness, and not Indians, we don't have seriousness about this patent. Even though there is a tremendous growth rate in number of patents, application filed, and also the patents awarded in the last 2 to 3 years. But if you see the ranking of India in the global patent index, we rank at 40th rank out of total 53 countries. So it's a very, very poor show here. So we need to increase this rank actually. So our rank has actually come down now. We are at 36th rank when there was 50 countries. But we have now moved into 50th rank now when there are 53 countries. 40th rank when there are 53 countries. So there is a poor dip in our ranking system. The main reason for why these things have happened is we don't create this awareness at the institution level. So majority thing needs to happen at our institution level. If you see US, 14% of the patents are coming from institutes there. In India, it is less than 1%. That means the contribution of patent to by the institutions like IIM, IIT, and NSC, all those big company institutions, what we talk about, right? So their contribution to patent is only 1%. And the other important thing, what is done in this patent issue is, very important thing is that the majority of the patents, what is filed in India, 70 to 75% of the patents are taken by non-resident Indians or foreign companies which are operating in India. So this is a bad sign of thing what is happening. They are people who are coming into India, they are filing patent application in India, and they are taking away the patents in India. So our contribution is only 20 to 20%. Residential patents are only 20 to 20%, but 78% of the patents are taken over by either non-resident Indians and these foreign companies. Okay, so this is something which is very poor in India. So we need to change this scenario. So how we can do it? I think the curriculum should introduce this introduction of this patent related thing, and the patent cells should be created in universities and colleges. See, there are 934 universities in India, including all your whatever you call it as private universities, autonomous university, government institutions, all put together, we have 934 universities. And the pathetic scene is we did not appear in the top 200 ranks in global university ranks. Even our IISc could not do it. Even our IIT could not enter in the top 200 ranks. Israel has got 4 universities which has ranked in top 200. Iran has got 3 universities which has ranked in top 200. But country like India, even though we have so much of infrastructure and we are the people who gave best of the universities in ancient time like Nalanda, Takshashila and all, now we are struggling to at least get into that first 200 position in the university ranking. So this is something which we are really need to work on. So this is one thing on the patents. Please, as a faculty members, most of you are faculty members, try to bring some interest in the minds of the new entrepreneurs who will be there in your colleges in entrepreneur development cell. Try to encourage them to go for patents and all those things. So the process of patent filing and what is the important significance, let them be aware of. So at least some innovators, if they start coming and start developing patents, I think that will be very good for India's progressive development. Then global admired branding. As I told you earlier, we don't have anything called as global admired branding. What has happened all these days in India is most of the things or most of the products and services, whatever we offer, right, it was most domestically consumed. We never used to think about exports. So export was not our cup of tea always. So this is not today I'm talking about. This is something which is there in India. So before Britishers left India, right, we were reduced to such a bad shape that our growth rate was less than 1%. So if you go back to 17th century and see the contribution of India to export, right, we were the major exporter to all the countries in the world. So our export share at that time was somewhere around 32%. So where is that export today now? Why we are not focusing on exports? So why our quality and standards, what the product we manufacture doesn't cater to the export requirement? That means somewhere we are more shifted towards our local consumptions. We are restricting ourselves for designing a product which can meet only the local requirements. So this is something which needs to change now. So when we are talking about becoming the strategic global leader, our focus should be more on export oriented products. If you see China dominated the world economy because of this only. So most of the products what China manufactured is not consumed in China. Okay, people doesn't consume that manufactured goods in China. China caters to the need of what the world economy requires. So what people require across the globe, that is what China manufactures and sends. This is where the difference between China and Japan was. So Japan could not sustain in the global markets because they focused more on their traditional things. They focused on their they were not more open up to the global economy. They closed their doors and started manufacturing according to what they think it's correct. So they did not cater to the needs of what people of the other country thinks. They wanted to push their ideology into the global ideology. That could not work. So China is one thing which has done it very beautifully. They study the economy and they study the nature and what the people require. And accordingly, they manufacture the products in bulk and they ship it to them. So sometimes the product what they're shipping to India, right, the prices of that product will be much lesser than what the products are available in China itself. So that is one thing, beautiful thing what China did in order to capture the global market. So when we are trying to run the concept of make in India, make to world, what Prime Minister has told, right? So we need to focus more on creating a product or services which is catered to the global demand. That means we need to ensure that the quality and the taste and aesthetics, what the product or service should consist of, right? That should meet the global standard. So there should be something called as a benchmark, global benchmark, which India should adopt towards. So all these years, we were more of consumption economy. We used to manufacture, we used to distribute, and we used to consume ourselves. So we were less reluctant on brand or building a good quality products or export-oriented products and all. We did not think about this. So coming years, definitely we need to focus more on this, where we need to think about the export-related things which should be integrated into the product what we design and develop. So that is one thing. And the another thing which is very important and which is focused is health sector. I'll take another 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. I'll close it off, then take the questions. So health sector is one thing which is very important today. And after this COVID, I think many of us has realized what is the importance of health. And definitely people have learned a lot of things, a lot of lessons due to that lockdown of 45 days. And a lot of changes has taken place in many of their health habits also. So that is one big transformation which has brought by this Wuhan virus. So I think that needs to be carried forward, and now India realizes the importance of health. So if Ayushman Bharat was not there, imagine what would have been our situation by now, because the treatment is almost free of cost. They are doing the treatment for COVID related patients in most of the hospitals. So think if Ayushman Bharat was not there, what would have been the position of India? So slowly, yes, we are doing it, but still, if I share some statistics, like we spend almost 1.23% of our GDP on health. So very, very, very limited one. If you see the European and US and all, right, they spend more than 5% of their GDP on health. So this is the first time we have allocated around $7 billion on health sector schemes. This is something which is new, so which never was done earlier. So, but we spend more on defense. So more than 2.3% of our GDP is going towards defense, but less is going towards the health sector. So going forward, I don't think defense requires so much, because no one is interested to wage war or start occupying other countries and all. So no one has made such efforts, and no one will be daring to do such risk, take such huge risk of waging war against another country. So it's high time that let us reduce the defense budget and start increasing the health budget. So 1.23% needs to at least move towards somewhere around 2.5 or 3% next year onwards. And if you see the number of doctors per patient, for 10,000 patients, we have 9 doctors. So this is the average India is working with. If you go to Israel, it is around 45 doctors for 10,000 people. So this is also something which India is not doing good. And if you see the number of beds, 1,000 beds, if you see how many patients, so it is only 0.5 bed per 1,000 patients. So that means less than 1 bed is available. Okay, if 1,000 people get admitted, right, tomorrow 1,000 people come with some symptom, we have hardly 1 bed to share them. So that is the situation today. So this is a sector which can grow tremendously. So huge opportunities there in health sector. Telemedicine and all these sectors are coming up with huge thing. Pharmaceutical industries, all these things, anything relating to health. This is one sector which can flourish like anything in the coming years. So more and more investment needs to be put into the health sector also. And the focus should be mainly on the 3S concept. What is this 3S concept? Skill, size, scalability. So these are the 3 important concepts which India should now seriously look upon. Be it education, be it the technical part, or be it any areas, whatever we are referring to. So skill is becoming a major constraint to India. So our skill centers are less than 4,500 centers we have. If you see China, it has more than 8.5 lakh skill centers across China is there. So skill is something which is very, very, very lightly taken in India. And there are a lot of avenues and opportunities which are flowing in this skill development. So I think government is also pushing towards skill development, but there need to be some integration of the skill programs with the institution itself. So whatever academics you people are teaching, right, that should have some skill oriented training also. Just I'll put one example here, apprenticeship training. See, apprenticeship training is something which the scheme has been launched under Skill Ministry. But apprenticeship training is conducted after you complete some diploma or degree. That should not happen. It should be integrated along with the higher education itself. So if you are doing commerce or engineering or any background, right? So anything relating to that apprenticeship or internal things, right? That should be part of the academics itself. So it should be where apprenticeship training should be paid, and the last project, you can take it as last semester, should be full of apprenticeship oriented, where the students will be given live hands of experience on the latest things which are happening. So that is something which the ministry should think of seriously. So we have a lot of initiative which has been thrown, but connectivity is something where we are losing the track. So if we can integrate those things, if we can net it through those things, or if you can connect those things in a proper way, I think we will be able to manage some of the skill sets related issues, which is the biggest threat for our future growth. And size and scalability, of course, size here means two things. One is large scale production and involving lot of people. That's very important because we have 136 billion population and our young generation population is more. So just by using technology like AI or artificial intelligence or machine learning, all those things will not help us out unless we involve people participation also. So we need to produce in large scale, including production by large people. That is very important. So both the things should happen if we want to progress in the coming years. So that is three skills, 3S model, which I was talking about. So more export oriented, we need to think now. So the other important thing is the quite long back issue, bringing back black money. So this is one thing. It's a crucial stage today India is facing into. So our economy was not performing good before COVID also. We had a lot of our internal issues where our tax GDP ratio was around 8%. So the tax revenues were not sufficient for meeting our budgeted requirement of, and that's why our trade deficit balance was widening. Thanks to the foreign exchange reserve balance, which is standing at $491 billion today. So that is one big thing which has come as a boon to us, which has helped us to tackle our lot of key issues, which is getting into the system, and that is how our currency is now balanced. At least it's moving at 75.76 rupees per dollar and all those things. If that was not the case, then our currency would have been around somewhere around 80 to 82 rupees today. So thanks for that. At least some things are working towards India now. And what we need to do is this black money. So actually, we don't know how much black money is there. No one has quantified it, and very difficult to quantify because these are all secret information. No one will share. Of course, the demonetization could bring some of the money into the system, but we are talking about the money which has been kept outside India. So the black money which is lying outside India is something which we need to bring it out. So this is the right time. Time has come here. So there are methods. Countries like Nigeria has done. Countries like Philippines has done. Country like US has done recently. Okay, see, these are the situation because we are running into a bad state now. So instead of going for printing currency notes or something like that, taking some harsh decision like that, better why not we bring in an ordinance wherein the president can say that whatever money is stored outside India without knowledge of India, it belongs to India. See, that is the ordinance which can be done because this is the national interest. So in national interest, no one is greater than national interest, or no one is bigger than national interest. So just an ordinance by the president saying that whatever money has been parked outside India without being informed to the Indian authorities here, right, that belongs to India. So tomorrow, all the countries will be forced to disclose that and transfer that money to Indian accounts. So this is something which needs to be done. Ordinance is the only route because already Supreme Court constituted some SIT and all, and some 18 names were disclosed, and that was kept in a sealed cover. But till now, they have not disclosed who are these 18 people and what is the quantum of money they are holding in foreign countries and all those things. So this is something which needs to be done at immediate step. Right time is there now. We have a reason for justifying why we passed an ordinance. So through that ordinance, just like how Nigeria has done, Philippines has done, Egypt has done, and US has done recently, I think this is one way we need to try to bring that foreign currency money, Indian money, which has been kept in tax haven countries or in countries like Switzerland and all those places as black money. So that needs to be now broken. That chain needs to be broken, and that money needs to be brought to India for development purposes. And lastly, I need to focus on ethical revolution. That is a very, very, very important thing. What needs to happen now? See, India is a country because why people are not trusting China. Trust is something which matters today. So it's not money which is mattering the world today. people are believing some countries and they are entering into contracts with them. So tomorrow, if you see that countries becoming totally enemies of you, then what is the question of trust? Where is the question of trust today? So this is something which we as an Indians were advocating right from our ancient age. See, whenever we talk about the concept of profit, right, we talk about Shubha Labh. So there are three types of labh. Okay, Shunya Labh, Shubha Labh, Sab Labh. So these are the three labs which are there, which was being taught by old people or ancient people have taught us how the business should run. So today, the concept of Shubha Labh is very important. What is this Shubha Labh means? Good profit. Have any country talked about or talked about good profit? Have they defined what is good profit? India has defined what good profit is by calling it as Shubha Labh. See, if there are n number of competitors, we need to make sure that all the competitors should gain end of the day. All should make profit. That is called a Shubha profit, Shubha Labh. So, unlike Western concept of competition where they say cutthroat competition, that means you cut the throat, kill that person, competitor, you kill that competitor and bring that money. So, make profit out of it. See, that is not the concept of India. Indian concept is Shubha Labh. So, if 10 people are there with you competing, let all the 10 people make profits. Let all of you make profit. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. That is the concept under which the Indian economy works. So the concept of Shubha Labh is ethical practices which India has advocated to the global system today. So trust is something which people should believe. So we know that India has not gone for any aggression with any country till now. And we have been part of aggression for so many years. People have come and looted India, but India has not taken any revenge on any other country. That is the strong ethos what we inherited from our ancient times. So that is our concept of ethical values what we pose in our system. So somewhere down the lane we are losing these ethical values in business today. You know what happened in Vizag, how many people died because of not taking proper action on such a type of very sensitive things. So even on cities also we see a lot of things selling a lot of products which are not of good quality, not of good grades. So we are not doing ethical business then. So this ethics is something which is inherent our system. So we need to encourage this ethical revolution. So we have done a lot of revolution. First Indian War of Independence revolution took place. Then 1942 revolution was there. Then we came across agriculture revolution, that is green revolution. We succeeded in that. Then we came across white revolution, that is Korean Sir's revolution, dairy farming and all. We succeeded in dairy revolution, also white revolution. Then we came to blue revolution, Matsya Pada scheme, where we even achieved good results in that blue revolution also. Then we moved to a digital revolution. We have already shown success in digital revolution also. Now time has come. We need to move towards ethical revolution. So this revolution is a very important revolution where each one of us should contribute towards ethical principles. Our strong core values are ethical principles. That is how India has become a karma bhumi. So we succeed only if we are ethically strong, morally driven by our ancient ethos. So whatever the technology may change, whatever the technology may come for future, but we should not lose our ethics. But we need to go backwards for our tradition and customs. Let us move forward for technology changes. Let us go with the pace with what AI is coming, automation is coming, robotics is coming, and MI is coming. So let us move, let us adopt those things for our development and growth purpose. But when it comes to as a human being, we need to move backwards. We need to go and start learning and inculcating the practices what our age-old people have told us. So that is what ethics means. We have been rooted in our DNA with that ethical values. Only thing is now we need to expose that. We need to practice that instead of changing the ultimate thing which will create India to become a superpower. Then we can say that we are the global gurus, and this global gurus is there in all of us. So the contribution from each one of you who are listening this, right, each one of you can contribute towards this. So having said so, I will just break it here. So I will conclude my speech. Okay. So there are a lot of other things I can discuss, but since it's already 1 hour more time I've taken, I'll conclude here. So if you have any questions, please do raise questions. I'm happy to answer your questions. So I think some of the questions have come on my WhatsApp because I had asked Madam to collate the questions and send it to me. Okay. I'll just read those things. Okay. I'll just try to answer some of the questions. Madam has given me some questions here. So someone has asked about Mudra package and financial inclusion. See, Mudra is a very good loan, collateral-free loan. What the government has started, up to 10 lakhs they will fund you. That 10 lakh is collateral-free. Just looking at a project report. This is basically to encourage people with idea to come and start business, new ventures. So I think this is a platform where people can start using it. So many people, I have my own client who has used this particular scheme. She was selling papads. Okay, she used to sell papads. So today, her business has grown with a turnover of more than 1.5 crores. You don't believe? I'm not exaggerating. I'm auditor for her. So our turnover has crossed more than 1.5 crores just by doing papad business. So why I'm telling that example? Because this particular Mudra loan has helped her out. When she was not having any funds, she had put some 1.5, 2 lakhs from her pocket by borrowing from some relatives and friends and all those things. But later on, when she found that Mudra is a scheme which can help her out, she came to me and she asked for that. And there she got a loan of 4.5 lakhs. Initially, she got a loan of 4.5 lakhs just by a project report. She set up industry and she started hiring 5-6 women entrepreneurs. Okay, she trained them and she was able to generate more and more funds because of her successful entrepreneurship. So Mudra is a loan which is given to new entrepreneurs. Okay, just on project reports. Okay, so even if you don't have a setup also, you can go for that. And definitely it is a inclusion program where it encourages a lot of young innovators or young entrepreneurs to start up their own business. Then how Mudra package? Okay, Dr. Ashish, can you get a view about the bill issued by USA to unlisted Chinese companies? Yeah, I was talking about this. Motives are to do something which are not benefiting the other countries. Okay, so where they are targeting the other countries or manufacturing those products and services which are targeting to kill other countries' growth. So for that, they have bought a bill. Yesterday night, they have bought that bill in order to bring them delisted. That's what the word they've used from US Stock Exchange. So that is a very great move actually, and this is one way where they can just take a serious action against China other than trade restrictions what they are posing on China. Then what is the impact on household budget? Yeah, household budget, definitely there will be a few impacts in the coming months. Okay. We need to withstand. See, whenever there is an operation, there will be a pain, right? So I think, but after operation is done, when you have some pain for 2-3 months, after third month, you recover it. So this is what the situation today in India. So we have all gone for operations now. Okay, operations pains, it pains us. So we need to withstand this pain for another 2-3 months. And after that, things get settled and a lot of opportunities flows back. Okay, so I think the economy will bounce back in the coming months, next to 3 to 4 months. If everything goes right, I think definitely economy will bounce back. And that we can see, especially in the last 15 days, the collections, whatever the government is making towards various sources from. So there is a proactive government which is working towards it. And we need to thank the people of India because they elected at least now, last 2 terms, they have elected a single party government. So all these years, there was to be a coalition government. So you know what happened with the coalition governments after 1991. So since 1991 reforms were carried out, after that, there was a series of coalition government which ruined the basic ethos or ethics of 1991 revolution which was introduced. So that was we could not take the advantages of 1991 post reforms because of coalition politics which ruled the entire economy. So now at least we have a continuous 2 years of single party government being elected. I think government will now come up with a lot of initiatives and schemes which will definitely address the household related issues. What is the strategy for Indian economy? That is what I discussed all now. What about education sector? I think education sector going forward will be something like this. What is that? Let me tell you one thing about education sector, very important. See, going forward, people like Harvard University and Wellington University and all those big names, right? Big universities across the globe, right? They are venturing into online teaching now. Almost there are some courses which have been already run online. Like MIT has come up with a lot of technical courses. You can get the certificate online now. MIT certificate, you can get it from doing courses here. So similarly, there are many courses which has come online. So I think going forward, online will be the major thing. I think even the government finance minister announcement recently, right, on e-Vidya scheme, e-Patashala, all those things. I think a lot of changes are taking place on promoting this on a bigger scale. Even though it's not a good way of teaching because it will not have face-to-face, eye-to-eye interaction and all those things. But definitely, I think this is one of the mode of education which will be coming in future. That is one point. Second point is going forward, the academics in the colleges and schools will be something like the menu system, which we see in hotels. So when you go to a hotel, it will give you just a big book. Okay, so when you need to order from that big book. So earlier, when we were children, right, when we were kid and all, when we used to hotel, we used to see only 5-10 items displayed on the notice board of the hotel. Only those things were available, and this continued for 7 to 8 years till my knowledge of eating in hotel is going back, right? So I used to see only the common things which used to be repeated on the hotel notice board every time when we go there. But today that is not the case. Once you go there, he will throw in front of you a big book and you need to select their Chinese, continental, Italian, Spanish, all those North Indian, South Indian, all those things will be there. So apart from that, lot of options. So if 5 people are sitting, one person will order one thing and he will cater to that order and he will bring that order. He will make that order freshly and he will bring it to it. So similar thing will happen in education also. So now commerce student, they may study some accounting, costing and all. But apart from that, they may be interested in geography, they may be interested in history, or they may be interested in civics. So even those things also will be there now. So going forward, that will be the education system. What it will be coming, it will be going more of menu mode, where university will not decide the syllabus, what the student should learn. Students will decide the syllabus, what they should learn. So that is the thing which will be happening in the coming months. So I think that is one thing which you need to bear it. So definitely there is a big change in education system. What is our role in development of economy? As I told, faculties play a very important role. Okay, as a faculty, your role is to connect between the economy, that is the industry, and the institute. So your role is very important. Employability should be created from your side. You need to develop that skill sets. You need to develop entrepreneurship. You need to create such people to the society. Okay, you need to bring that revolution of ethics in the minds of kids which are lacking today. So you have a very big task now. Okay, apart from syllabus, you need to put more and more efforts on shaping the kids to face the environment, face the challenges in the coming environment. So it will be not more of syllabus driven, it will be more of orientation driven. So survival quickest is what it is important now, not survival of the fittest. Okay, quickest is what? So in this process, you should be also a good learner. You should be also keep on learning new things so that you can tell your students and try to bring them into the mainstream, giving what is required for them. Because parents believe in faculties. Parents think that, okay, our kid is going to this college or this school. So they have a lot of expectation. Meeting their expectation is what our requirements will be. Our skill set, we should focus on their requirements. So the concept of, again, I go back to old Vedas. So if you see your Upanishads, right, in that there is one Upanishad, since you asked this question, I'll just take 2 minutes to tell you. There is something called as Taittiriya Upanishad. So Taittiriya Upanishad, there is something called as Bhruguvalli in that Taittiriya Upanishad. So there one thing happens. Their disciple gets a question now. Okay, he gets confused to understand what is Brahma. He doesn't know what is Brahma now. So he has completed 14 years of learning. After 14 years of learning, he should go and lead his independent life. That is what Gurukula system used to advocate in olden age. So this guy completes 14 years of study, but at the end of 14th year, he is still confused. He doesn't know what is meant by Brahma. So he gets this question. So he goes to his guru and asks, what is Brahma? So today, if you ask any faculty, he say, okay, go and refer Google search or whatever answers he will tell. Correct. That is what we do today. But there, it was not like that. The guru is the person who actually tries to bring out the students to understand themselves. He is called as guru. Okay, gu andakaram ru tan niro.